Shawnee. Welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about the newest Nomad Cosmetics release. It will be coming out on Tuesday, May 30th. So I wanted to make sure to get you a video so that you can decide if you want the palette or not. Now, since I'm special, Nomad sent me the palette and I'm really excited about that. I think this is the third palette that they have sent me. Now, they did say that there's like no obligation to post anything or say anything good, bad, or indifferent. But I wanted to do this so that you can have a clue as to whether or not you want to pick this one up. Now, what else? Oh, I do have a code with Nomad. It's not a commission code. I don't get anything from it. But you and I can get some discount when we use that code. The code is Shani10, so SHANI10, and you can use it for a couple dollars off of your purchase. Now, why did he asking me that though? No. Okay. So here is the box that the palette came in. This is the Nomad OKAVANGO Safari palette, and the box is super cute. It's got little animals around the sides, and then this little animal in the front here, and then on the back you have a little bit about it as well as a layout of the shades. Honestly, when I got this and I opened it, I immediately started playing the Lion King soundtrack because I'm so basic. I was yelling and screaming Hakuna Matata like all through the night. I'm sure my neighbors enjoyed it. Anyway, let me tell you what is on the back. It is said to be an expressive safari hued shadows formulated with extra fine pigments for smooth blendability and intense color payoff, infused with baobab seed oil to help moisturize and rejuvenate skin. 9 majestic mattes, 3 stunning shimmers, and 3 animal print shimmer swirls, all inspired by the spectacular natural sanctuary of the Okavango Delta, which is in Botswana, and that is a country in Africa, if you didn't know. So here is the palette itself. It's very pretty. I think this might be my favorite, what's the word? Design from the brand. It's very soft, this like leopard print. We're getting animal print vibes here, and it says Nomad Cosmetics OKAVANGO Safari, and then has this little, is that an elephant? Has this little elephant here, and then similar to the box, it has these animals here, and that is all in like gold writing. Then on the back we have Nomad, the name of the palette, and it is said to be designed on location, encountering safari's most magnificent creatures. And they are a proud supporter of Wilderness Wildlife Trust. There is an expiration date, which is 12 months post-opening, and then they do have their Leaping Bunny certification there. So, here's the part where we open the palette. Here is the palette in all its glory. I did use the palette to do this eye look, which I will be sure to insert towards the end of the video so you can see how I got it. Basically, I used this entire first row. So you'll have to let me know if you want me to do other looks with this palette, which I probably will anyway, but let me know. I can go by rows, I can just do whatever I want to do, I can go by quads, so let me know if you want me to do that. I could also focus on this palette for next week and just make it a Nomad Safari week. So while I read the little postcard that came with it, they always send a really cute postcard with all of their palettes. I will let you take a gander at the palette, and then we'll get started with some swatches. Welcome to Safari, an experience like no other. We are roaring with excitement to celebrate the magnificent OKAVANGO Delta and her beautiful colors. Enjoy creating your own safari looks that are as majestic as the animals that inspired this palette. The destination. Feel the rumble, hear the crash, see the herd. Welcome to Botswana's OKAVANGO Delta and its awe-inspiring animal kingdom. This natural oasis that springs to life with seasonal floodwaters is home to some of the world's most endangered mammals. sustaining the largest population of elephants on Earth and robust communities of rhinos, hippos, lions, and African wild dogs, a safari to the Okavango creates once-in-a-lifetime experiences and supports conservation of the vast area and its precious wildlife. The color story. Majestic kingdom. Expressive safari-hued colors inspired by Okavango's magnificent creatures, from golden lions and green crocodiles to gray elephants and dark brown buffalo. 9 majestic mats, 3 stunning shimmers, and 3 animal print shimmer swirls encased in a soft-touch leopard print palette. NOMAD is excited to help protect the majestic animals and the communities of the safari by supporting the Wilderness Wildlife Trust. Go ahead and do some swatches. I'm going to prepare my arm by rolling up my sleeve. There you go. Look at that nice arm. Yes. Okay. So we've got 15 shades. Let's see how much I can do on one arm. I think I might be able to fit them on here. Let's see. All right, so I will read you the name of the shade and then do the swatch and blah, blah, blah. Ooh, my bad. Okay, so this first shade here is named Towering Giraffes. The shade next to it is Leaping Leechweeds. I believe that's like an antelope. The shade next to it is Elusive Leopards. The shade next to it is one of those swirl shades, and it is Roaring Lions. Rawr. I like this one because I'm a Leo. And Leos are like kings and queens of the jungle, and I'm like a queen. Now, what I do notice with this one is I use this one on my eyes, and you can actually see more of the impact when I show you my eye look, but it does feel like it gets a little hard pan or something if you rub your finger into it. Might be something that you just need to scrape off with a little tool here, like one of these spatulas, and just like take off the top of it, because sometimes the oils in your fingers can like change the consistency and stuff. Let's see if that did anything. Yes, do you see that? Such a difference. Such a difference. So that's not a big deal to me. I always have one of these handy. And so if you start to notice that one of your shades, like it's harder to pick stuff up or it's not as impactful, you might want to try just scraping off that top layer and seeing if that does the trick. Now, the last shade in this row is Pack of Wild Dogs. Tell me that doesn't make you think. So that is the first row of the palette. I think we can fit all of them on here, potentially. Now the second row starts with Moremi Game Reserve. This is sort of like the green row of the palette. That top row is more of your golds, rose golds. This is like the green yellow. The next is Keystone Termites. Not a fan of termites. Not a fan. I don't want to say that too loud in case they hear me. The next shade is Vumbura Plains. Ooh, look at that. The next shade is another one of those swirl shades. It is Nile Crocodiles. You see that? And then the last shade in this row is Chief's Island. This looks like a really pretty green. Now let's move on to this last row, and this seems to be like the grungier row just a bit. It has some of the deeper shades in the palette. It kind of has this brownish sort of green or like sea moss green kind of color story to it. This first shade is Crash of Rhinos. All right, let's roll this up just a little bit more. Let's get a little bit more because it's not showing up as well on my dark skin, but there's that. I feel like it looks a little gray on me, but you can still see that greenish tinge to it. The next shade is that third swirl shade, and this one is called Migrating Zebras. Ooh, can you see that? Look at that. Oh, look at that. That is pretty. I feel like sometimes with swirls, you don't know like what it's gonna come out to look like. That is very pretty. I feel like this is like just totally jumps out as different from the other shades in the palette. The one next to it is Rumbling Elephants. Oh, that feels very soft. That shimmer is still on there. Let's see if we can wipe it off before we do the last two shades. This shade here is Mighty Buffaloes. This is pretty. Sorry about that. Hopefully you can see it. The last shade here is Hunking Hippos. I really feel like they could have made that Hungry Hippos. Remember that game, Hungry Hippos? So there is the palette in all its glory. We've got all of the shades on this arm, starting here, which is kind of hard to see on my skin tone. It's like, where is it? So for those of us with my skin tone or darker, this might be like a blending shade for us. Here are the other shades. These seem to show up pretty well. It's a very interesting color story. I think you get a lot of variety. Like you've got this chunk of like rose golds, and like warm browns. Then you've got this chunk of yellows and greens. And then you've got this chunk, here of like your grungy shades and your deeper greens and a little bit of like rusty brown. So I think it's a good variety of shades. So let's go ahead and clean this up and I will give you my thoughts. So before we get to my final thoughts, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the look I did today. So here it is. So you've seen the swatches, you've seen the look, now you hear my thoughts. You know, I like this palette. I actually feel like it fits in really well with the other palettes that I have from Nomad. All of them have like their own unique color story. When I saw this one though, the first one I thought of was Hudson Valley. That was actually the first palette that I purchased from Nomad. It wasn't gifted to me. Here is Hudson Valley. I really like this one and I wondered how is the Safari one going to hold up against it, but I think they are different enough, right? I think it kind of depends. Do you want more like warm shades or do you want these like green, grungy? Both of them have a grungy vibe to them. Let's see. Y'all know I can't hold two palettes at one time. Oh, they didn't teach me that in grad school. Okay, so on the bottom is Hudson Valley and here on the top is OKAVANGO Safari, the most recent one. These would actually go pretty well together. I don't know that you would need both unless you're really wanting those shimmers and those swirly shimmers, because Hudson Valley only has 3 shimmers. They're the 3 shades down the middle. But with this one, with the Safari palette, you get 6 shimmers. So you get double the shimmers in this one, and you like get those 3 swirly shimmers, which are pretty interesting. So I think if you want more shimmers, you probably want to go with the Safari, and if you want more of this like warm fall palette with just 3 shimmers, then maybe go with Hudson Valley. I like them both. Now, the other palettes I have from Nomad, this is the Royal Europe palette, which is really nice. I think this is one of their best palettes. The shimmers are amazing, and you get 5 shimmers in here, and then the rest are mattes. This is very different from the Safari palette, like different color stories. Like, yeah, this is, you could get both of these, and I don't think you'd have any sort of repeat looks that you would do. This one here is Cartagena Mágica, and this was actually given to me by Dion from Dion Loves Makeup. I find that this one is also very different from the Safari palette, like just very different color stories, right? This is like bright and punchy. This is much deeper and like, yeah, so totally different. Now, the other one that I have is the Verona Amore e Morte palette, and again, this is very different from the Safari one. So you've got these 2 sides that open up, and let me see if I can hold Safari up. There we go. So very different again. So I think if you're sort of wondering what to get from Nomad, it really just depends on the color story that you want. Do I have any other ones? No, I think these are all the Nomad palettes that I have. I think when I've gone on the Nomad website, I've sometimes gotten overwhelmed because they have these larger palettes, you know, like 15 shades. Although I'm fine with larger palettes, sometimes I'm like, oh, do I want that color story? Do I want that color story? So I think a lot of it depends on what color story you're interested in. I think whatever you get, the packaging and the design is going to be amazing. Like, I really enjoy the packaging and design, and I really like that they send this postcard because it's cool to like read about their inspiration and where they've gone and things like that. I just feel like that adds a little something to it. You know, like how Elle Woods in Legally Blonde, like she had like pink scented paper for her resume. Just gives it a little something, just like that. So I enjoy this palette. I like it. I love the packaging. I think my friend Jessa, who loves leopard print, is gonna love this just because it's so nice and soft, and the shades work really well. I think these are gonna work even better on someone lighter than my skin tone. For some of these, I think I'll have to build the shade up pretty much, but I did that with the look that I did today, and I feel like it came out well. I was really able to build things up. One thing I will say is you want to be mindful of the shimmers, and if they'll get a little hard pan. That could just be user error, but it was super easy to just take a little spatula and scrape off the top. So that's my suggestion if you do hit hard pan on this or any other palettes that you use, because sometimes the oils in our hands and our fingers can just do a little mess up situation with the shades. So tell me what you think. Let me know if you're planning to get this palette. Let me know how you feel about the eye look. I think it's cute, so whatever. And hopefully some of this was helpful. I also hope that you are continuing to take care of yourself. Make sure to like the video. Also, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.